Welcome everyone to another video. In today's video we are going to cover the dollar collapse that is on the way. Then we are going to be checking out some of the charts, obviously. Let me just pull up there we go. We're going to cover the dollar index, a very important point in the market currently. We're literally about to break out of this descending line, the angle that we've been in for a very long time. Remember, the stock market is very important as it's pretty relevant now. Crypto and Bitcoin is part of the traditional finance system by now. We'll check out the volatility, quickly look at Bitcoin. We're going to be checking out the major cycles, and unfortunately I've just removed it, but I'll re-add it when we get there. This is the 12-year cycle. Also, we're going to be looking at this chart that was created in the 1870s, and it shows these large periods of when to make money and panics that also happen in the market, but we'll discuss it when we get there. We'll cover Hex, obviously, Hex versus the other pairs, the daily stats, and the Hex ecosystem. So let's jump right into it. So firstly, so this is the dollar index, right? We've been looking at these levels for quite a while. We've made this double bottom here, but it seems like it has now failed, and we are now printing candles below the support levels, right? So we could come back and retest it. Like I told you guys yesterday, we want to see this breakout, and it's finally happened now. It happened yesterday already, and we're confirming candles below it now. This is good for your risk assets, also for your euro versus the US dollar. We will quickly look at how they are performing. You can see all of them breaking out. Let's look at the Great British Pound. This is also valid for your risk assets, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency being one as well. This is very bullish for the Great British Pound, gathering higher highs. And it's funny, right at the bottom here is when everyone was very bearish, right? The Eurozone is going to freeze, and all of the shenanigans that always happens at the bottom of the market. Your commentators are always wrong, right? Let's look at the Japanese yen versus the US dollar. So a strong reversal here as well. Let's look at it the other way around so we can see what the yen is doing. So yeah, coming off its peak at 150 yen per dollar, now breaking down significantly. We can also see this on all of the stock market. Now the market hasn't opened yet, but we can now see how perfectly we are now retesting this descending line for the third time, right? 1, 2, 3, fourth time, excuse me. Once one test, two tests is random, but the third one is pretty much a trend, right? And the fourth one, let's see what happens. We want to see this break above this downtrend and confirm higher lows this side of the downtrend. So we'll probably know by the end of the day, although we have closed yesterday. Is the market open yet? The market is open, yeah. Okay, so we are trading below it right now, and it has rejected thus far. Yeah, so we'll see how the market reacts. This is all because the market or the Fed Powell's speech a few days ago was quite dovish. which is bullish for the risk assets, right? Volatility on the VIX, not much happening here. I thought we might have had a low here, but this spikes when a lot of trading happens, right? We're pretty much at very low volatility at the bottom. We want this to spike. This spike above 45 tends to show bottoms in the market, right? So nothing happening quite there yet. Let's cover these major cycles quickly before we go on to the rest of the charts. So these periods when to make money coincides quite, and I've shown this chart on this channel before, but this one we haven't really taken a look at. This is the 18-year property cycle, and I hope you guys can see that. You should be able to see that well enough. We have an 18-year property cycle, and you get this first expansion wave, a little consolidation in the middle of the phase, and then your cyclical peak that finally happens, a massive expansion wave that tends to be larger than the first one. Now this is just the US market, right? But the US market is technically like the God market, right? It sets the tone for all of the other Western markets, including the United States, England, Europe, Australia, and I would put South Africa in that one as well, where I'm from. So we had the 2020 small little consolidation there, and since this started in 2011, the end of 2011 to 2012, we might see the peak heading into 2026 as well. Now this chart of the periods when to make money, the top is panics. Now that does not mean crashes in the market, it's just major events. We can see 1927, 1929 was the Great Market Crash, 1945 was the end of the Second World War, 1965, 1981 was the major interest rates, right? 2019, we all remember what happened in 2019, right? The end of 2019, even the event is named after that year. And then we have a new market panic in 2035, right? But the bottom is when the market bottoms and when you want to start accumulating, and we can see that it's pointing towards 2023 down here. It might not be that clear for you guys, as this is a handwritten, well, it looks handwritten, right? I'll just make it as large as I possibly can for you guys on the live stream. So you can see the bottom of the market. This is good times to be buying, and we can see that 2023 is indicating to be a really good buying here. 2023 is over here, and then it's a 3-year cycle to the 2026 peak. So it coincides with the 18-year cycle over here, where this tends to be, some people call it 18 years, others call it the 16-year, and if you type it in Google, you will find this chart. So this coincides with the 2026 top in the real estate market as well. And you will hear people saying, especially your large real estate companies will be saying that prices will never able to be going down. You will be seeing stories like massive infrastructure spending during this time, massive buildings being completed and being built, and then when this starts to decline, there's no realtors for these massive buildings that's been built, right? That's how the cycle tends to play out. So we've got two major cycles independent of each other, showing that 2026 is going to be a major peak in the cycle. And if you guys have watched my time analysis on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, we know that these cycles tend to last 4 years, right? We can just measure one out from peak to peak, 204 days or 204 weeks, or 1,428 days. Tends to be around 4 years, 1,428 days in years. So you guys can see 3.9 years, right? And if you round that off, that gets you to your 4-year cycle. And from the bottom to the bottom, you'll also see 4 years, right? And we are right around the 4-year area for the bottom to the bottom, right? So if we go off to see when the top of the next bull run would be, let's measure 208. It should be 209 days. So that takes you right into the end of 2025, which is the 2026 top, according to these charts, right? 2025 to 2026. And that shows, how crazy is that, right? That this chart that was made in 1872 by, who made this? Let's see if I can find the name on this chart. George Tritch. More than 100 years ago, right? Almost 160 years now. Showing a top coming in 2026. This also coincides with our Bitcoin cycles. So yeah, this is where I would be taking profits and heading for the hills, right? Although it might not be a massive panic year. The next panic year is 2035, which we might see a massive world event happening then. So yeah, look out for that. Put a reminder on your Google calendars that 2026 you should be out of the market, or at least taken a significant amount of profits, right? So judgment time for the stock market. The dollar index breaking down significantly right now, losing major levels. And if we put a horizontal line up here, we can see it acted as resistance back here in June 2020, found support. Let's just draw a trend line off these levels to see if we've broken the trend line yet. Let's get it as accurate as we possibly can. So you can see this nice trend line going up here. It's currently sitting at 104, so 102, excuse me. So it'd be pretty confident and confirmed that this uptrend will be broken if we break down here, but not 100% convinced just yet, right? Maybe we should use these. It's like 111. If we pull up a Fibonacci tool, I just want to see if we've broken the 38.2 yet. Yeah, so we are below it, in fact. Then the next level will be your 50% at 102. That coincides exactly with the break of this level down here. By then, I'd be pretty confident to say that the dollar has made a major top here. But you guys, if you've been watching me for a while, we've been talking about this for quite a long time, right? But there is some bullish divergence still on the weekly that I've shown you guys previously. So Bitcoin, I mean, there's not much to say. Everybody is still calling for lower prices. The Fed is soon to pivot or to slow their rate hikes in the next month at least. So we could this be a major bottom? I've been wrong in the past, so I'm not going to go outright and say that this is the bottom here. The timing shows that it's pretty much the area where Bitcoin tends to bottom. Or this time it's going to be different if it's not the bottom, because it's going to be lasting much longer. we're either getting a crash when the Fed pivots, but that's still quite a while ago, because they've been saying that they're going to keep the rates high. You can pull up the rate hikes here. You see how they tend to keep the rates up here for quite a while. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's just measure it out. So in the past, that's 434 days that they've kept the rates quite high. That was a while ago. This one is 182 days. This was in March, just after the after Trump closed the from December 2018 all the way to when the virus started. So these tend to be a year and a half long, or a half a year and a year long. Again, 182 days or 192 days. So they might start slowing down next, peaking the inflation at, or the rate hikes, the interest rates at 4.5, then keeping it here for at least, until the half of the year in 2023 in July, and then starting to decrease rate hikes. So many people believe in the narrative that and I've covered it on this channel as well, that the market crashes when the Federal Reserve starts reducing the interest rates, right? Because the large players want to take leverage or take out loans to go long on the market, so they need the interest rates to be as low as possible to get those loans nice and cheap, so they can fill their bags with money that they got pretty much for free or very low interest rates. The halvening is happening in 2024. Let's mark it out here. By then the bull market tends to be well underway. 2024 in the middle. So we would expect that the crash would have happened by then, and that we are well underway to a bull market by then. So we can kind of see that the timing for the next bull run is going to be pretty insane, right, for the altcoins. As we all believe, Bitcoin won't be doing that well into the future, as we get diminishing returns, and the next cycle will be, I believe, quite underwhelming. So yeah, that takes us right into 2026, right into this area right here, where the next tightening cycle might be happening, or we're not sure what the news, or that's what the news is going to be that would be driving this, but peak up in here. Let's quickly see if we're still onboarding more people. 146 new holders in Hex yesterday. 218 overall new stakers, or 177. So, pretty good, right? Onboarding more and more people all the time. So we all know that Hex has popped off beautifully yesterday. From the lows, we are up 44%. That's very nice. Very few coins can show those kinds of returns in a bear market. It just shows you the power of low liquidity. But we see that power to the downside as well, as we get massive wicks and stuff. But we need to get these people out. Getting pretty bad order execution, and making sure they don't get as much as they possibly could, right? And to the upside, it means the same, right? Massive volatility to the upside. There's still more room for this to go. It seems like we might be getting resistance. It's more clearer now that we've taken off the 4.4 to 4 cents area. Looks like we might be getting resistance there. the indicators are already quite erect, and we are still currently sitting at 53, where the top of the market in Hex on the indicators tend to top out at 82, but there's still lots of room to go. Only the RSI is above on the top of its range, but this tends to consolidate at the top, like we've seen down here at the bottom. It does these consolidations and can make a few waves at the top here. So it can spend a lot more time here. It just depends on how Bitcoin handles the next few days. If we want Hex to perform well, we need it to at least to consolidate or to break out. Lots of people are pretty bullish on the crypto, especially Bitcoin. So it seems like there might be more upside, and with the dollar collapsing and the stock market testing resistance, we need this to break above, right? All of this is pretty much reliant on what the dollar and the S&P does, right? So Hex looking pretty good. It feels much better now that we've got green candles. You'll see more views on YouTube as well. Yeah, tonight Matty Allen is streaming, so I think I'll be making an appearance there, so do go check it out. I retweeted it. Hex versus BTC, the RSI just poked above the middle area, so still more upside. It seems like we'll continue to outperform Hex. We have this beautiful bullish divergence down here on the RSI. I just noticed it on the daily. Indicators going higher, or the price is going higher, yet the indicators are going lower. This is called hidden bullish divergence. This is the most powerful divergence that you can get. So Hex to continue to outperform Bitcoin. We're up 5% versus Bitcoin. We were a bit higher at 7% earlier. Hex versus Ethereum, we're outperforming Ethereum. No, so yeah, this looks pretty good. I love this Bitcoin chart. This is absolutely perfect. We've been moving in this range for how many days now? 173 days, and all of them are higher lows. Like, this is perfect market structure. This is what you want to see during your accumulation phase, or the phase where you are down in these areas, right? This is just people accumulating their positions. And remember, the altcoin market is like a leverage position on Bitcoin. People want to accumulate more Bitcoin, and I don't think that narrative has changed just yet. At the bottom of the market, you create a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, because lots of people were hurt with altcoins and exchange scams and Ponzi schemes, so they tend to go back to Bitcoin or start to learn about Bitcoin and all of the fundamentals, and they become maximalists. And so yeah, altcoins are a leverage position on Bitcoin. People want to make more Bitcoin with their altcoins. Yeah, and many people believe that's the only reasons for the altcoins to exist. Let's look at some of the Hex ecosystem coins. So we've talked about these divergences. They are now playing out on Hedron. We are inside of the reload zone. I've got this nice drawing here that we want to see accumulation happen here, or good market structure, or simply just some higher lows before we break out. The RSI is still pretty low. I mean, I'll just stake my Hex and earn more Hedron, right? You guys know how I feel. Icosa, a small reversal here. technically these areas were where you should have been interested if you wanted to get more of these coins, right? Let's look at Hex versus Icosa. Is suffering a little bit. We've made another new low, but that's to be expected because Hex has made quite a powerful move from its lows, right? So is this lower? Yeah, it is lower. But this is, we're finally starting to show up some bullish divergences. We've talked about this, that we want to see another low, but the indicator's making higher lows, right? So you can see that the RSI is currently at 29 and we made a bottom at 28. So that is bullish divergence. If you're interested in this coin, this is where you should be interested. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for clicking your buy buttons, right? All I do is I just get my Icosa and I stake it, right? I like staking. It protects me from myself because I tend to sell a little bit early when I get euphoric. I think we have covered everything that I wanted to cover today. We've covered pretty much the market is ready to break out on all levels. The dollar finally collapsing even further. This is good for the risk assets as we've spoken about earlier. Let's get to the chat. Pearl, what's up? Crypto Elite, hi Mr. Fancy, how are you, dude? I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for coming. If you like my videos, we've already got 9 likes with 9 people watching, so thank you for that. And do subscribe, please, if you're not subscribed just yet for future content like this, right? Let's see what Tony is saying. I always wanted a Krugerrand before crypto. Were you a gold bug? I bought silver 14 years ago. Price has went from $15 to $22. Not much profit compared to Bitcoin. I'm not at all a metals guy. I bought in on Bitcoin and I thought Bitcoin was like a scam created by the control structure to enslave us. I bought up here when Bitcoin was close to 20k and engaged in the ICO craze that happened up here, and then I started learning about Bitcoin because I dollar cost average all the way down up until we collapsed in from 6k, right? I lost a bit of confidence there, but I started learning in December. I read the Bitcoin standard from Safedin Ammous, and I was very impressed with that. Although he's a proponent of the gold standard, I've come to learn that the gold standard is pretty just as bad as interest charging banking. Like the longest lasting fiat money system that ever existed was the measuring sticks from England, from King Henry, right? I don't even think you can find this on YouTube anymore. Like, I've tried to find what these sticks used to look like, but they were literally sticks that were that had these notches on them, and you can split the stick in half, and it's the longest lasting fiat system that ever existed. And it was pretty much a stick, right? But the difference is that you could not charge interest on it. The bank was interest free. And even in America, the colonial script was also an interest-free banking system, and it lasted the longest. But when they implemented the gold standard, we had a massive collapse in America. These boom and bust cycles. So yeah, I'm not a real. So I got off tangent a little bit there, but yeah, not really a fan of gold. That's the reason why Cecil John Rhodes and the Milner Circle, or the Milner, what was they called? They were like a secret society that was created by Cecil John Rhodes, and that's the reason why they took over and fought a war against the Afrikaners, the South Africans, because they needed to control the flow of gold to England to implement their control structure. So it does not mean it doesn't have value, right? Gold is pretty to look at, and it makes pretty good jewelry as it can last very long. But I don't think it's money. Not at all. So yeah, that's my long-winded. And it's so controlled. Like by now they have full control of the metals, and there's no way they'll let it run at all. Could always place some hex stakes from those charts reminders. Yes, that chart is an incredible staking ladder, but also just a 4-year cycle staking ladder from now till probably not from now to 3 years from now. Is from the bottom 3 years and from the top 4 years is a very good staking cycle. So from the top you should have 4-year stakes every time, but yeah, you'd be pretty much be fine with that just by selling that massive stake, yeah, and living off the interest, and keeping your T-shares as well. So this is this cycle we're talking about, right? So from 2026 you had a stake come out there, so that's 3 years from now, right? 3.5 if you want to be technical, and then you want one in 2030 and then 2034. So those are the peaks going forward every time, and that's why these are just cycles. I mean, they just play out like clockwork every time. Yeah, let's get to your questions. Raymond, morning, how are you? I'm feel in the bottom is still tooth thud, can always be wrong. I don't know if you typed that wrong. That's some good info, reference points. Happy birthday, Hex. Yes, happy 3rd Hex birthday today for everyone. How much longer until Hex does a 50% retracement to 20 cents? Would you take profit or hold? No, I'm holding. I trade with a very small percentage, like I'm 91% staked. So I have a small percentage that I trade with, just because I'm an addict. But I sell when all of these indicators are either at their tops or at their bottoms, right? How long it might take till then? We probably see the 50% retracement. Let's go to the weekly so I can pull it out for you guys to show you what he's talking about. From the top to the bottom, this is called GAN theory, right? And I should probably pull it up for you guys to show that I'm not sucking it out of my thumb. 50% GAN rule. GAN with a double N. Oh, yes. Here we go, Investopedia. This rule states that when the market breaks an angle, it moves towards the next one. Another way to determine the support and resistance to bind angles. Often a downtrending GAN angle will cross the 50% retracement level. So you can see here, this is the 50% level of the overall move, right? When the market breaks, it moves towards the next one. So the angle that we have broken, I'm pretty sure we have broken the downtrend already. Yeah, we have. We just want to see a W this side of the downtrend, right? And that's just a fancy way of saying higher lows, right? So a W. We're still in the first V of the W. We have made it a higher low back here actually. So a small little W or a nice saucer bottom like that. Just going off maybe the Fed and the Bitcoin bottom, it might happen by the middle of next year at least. Or by the latest, I would say, the middle of next year. So this is the 50% GAN rule over here. And that is at 27 currently. But if we go lower, it will become less. Yeah, and the GAN rule states that the market always tends back to the 50%. How to use the 50%. In the early 1900s, a trader named W.D. Gann discovered that retracements in securities he was trading at the time tended to occur at 1/2 of the original move from the low to the high. In fact, Gann said that the most profitable retracement is a 50% retracement. To illustrate this, say the price of a stock moved from 10 to 30. At 30, the crowd decided that the security was overbought and started to sell. The ensuing price decline retracement stops near the 50% of the original 10 to 30% move, namely 20. This chart shows the 50% retracement, right? A good buy. If the trend resumes, Gann wrote that it will then exceed the previous high. That's quite interesting. So if it breaks the 50%, it's going to exceed the next high, right? This isn't going anywhere, right? X definitely has a few more cycles in it. Gann also saw retracements occurring at the half point of a move, such as at 25, the half of the 50. 12.5%, that's the half of the 25. No matter what definitions a statistician gives his software analysis sure wants to refine. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, so there you have it. The timing is a little bit more difficult. It's impossible to say actually, but I would think that by the mid of half, like you can see what happened on Bitcoin in the previous cycle. It came right back to the 50% and then rejected. This is the 50 here, right? And we could see we had our bear market and pretty much came right into the 50. We had our candle closes at the 50. Then came back, right? So if you took profits at the 50, you could have bought back literally at the lows. But if you don't know what you're doing, you will get wrecked, right? Then we moved back to the 50, got a little bit of resistance, and when we finally broke it, what Gann said is when you finally break the 50%, you are going to retest the highs, right? So there you go, you retested the highs and off you went. And if we go off, let's see where the 50% for BTC is currently at 36,000. So yeah, when the Fed finally pivots next year and close to the halvening in 2024, in the mid of 24 is the halvening. So by here, you will definitely be back at the 30,000 level next year, right? Maybe get a little bit of resistance and off we go again. There's so much involved with all of this. When during the letting go of Pulse, Hex will do well, yes. We'll pretty much hit the 50%, I think, when the Pulse release happens. Could you look at Doge chain? Damn. pretty much sitting inside or just below its reload zone. So all I can tell you is wait for the downtrend to be broken. You can see we got rejected at that. You need higher lows this side of the downtrend, and then the granny investor can nibble small percentages, never exceeding more than 5% of our overall portfolio, because as we've seen, altcoins, they can go to zero or do massive retracements. So you don't want to be holding the bag while the rest, the market is taking off. So risking small percentages on things like this and selling half on a double to get a free position in this coin, I mean, I can see nothing wrong with that, right? So your first double, if you got it at where it's currently at, is at 24, right? But once again, the longer it moves sideways at the bottom of its range, the better. This is practically where the granny investor gets some of this. I've never looked at this chart, but I've heard a lot about Doge chain. So yeah, if it's going to exist, expect it to do really well. Let me rephrase that. If it's going to continue to survive into the next bull run, it will do well. And now I used to trade these things. This is simply what I do. It's not an suggestion for you to do the same. Is I'll just sell off on a double all the way up. And if this is high above its reload zone, I'll find something else that is cheap. So yeah, that's Doge chain. I'm actually glad you suggested it to me. But this is not the time to have money on exchanges right now. This is pretty dangerous right now, especially Qcoin. Like, I'm showing this chart on Qcoin, and there are rumors that they are in fact insolvent. So be careful, please. So this can come down on the shorter time frame, can come down a little bit more. This is where value is at. What's that level? This is 0.001067. And if we pull up the overall reload zone, we have so this reload zone is a little bit lower. It's taken off already, so I would have to wait for it to come down to this level down here, 0.001069. That is where value is at on the shorter time frame. But on the overall time frame, we are inside of the reload zone. I like cheap prices. Let's see what the indicators are telling us. Yeah, it's pretty much halfway. We've looked at Let's Go, Jaggy, yeah, let's go. XRP probably be the stable. Yeah, XRP won't make a new high. New piece of history, Hans. Yeah. Show us the Hex average stake length. Is it up on here? I can check on Staker app for you quickly what the average stake length is. I don't know where else you would get that information. Let's see what Staker app says. Someone said 11-year Staker app. How? That's not 11 years. No, that's not that high yet. If you want, I've got 11-year average, but you need to need to have a staking ladder from now to 15 years or even more to get to that 11-year. 6.74 is the average staking length. 6.74. Not a question, but you should probably sacrifice for pulse to hold liquid to buy in. Not a question, but you probably sacrificed to hold. Yes, I did. I got quite a significant pulse and pulse X sacrificed. I've not sacrificed for anything except for Richard Hart projects. I have claimed my Texan token. Free 1 million free on few or multiple wallets, but I don't expect it to be worth much. 6.7 is the current, yes. 116k stakers. I remember when we got 20k. Yeah, time flies. I can't believe it. I make around 20 accounts for Hex every day for all these airdrops. My word. Good luck with that, dude. Just make sure you keep track of all of them. I don't know what I'm doing, trying to grasp quickly. Just keep on learning. It doesn't always feel like you are learning, but just keep at it, right? Thanks for that Dogecoin analysis. Nice, collecting some layer 1s for the bull, but will sell off in a double. The layer 1 coins tend to outperform everything, right? For now, that the layer 1s is pretty much all of the what everybody is pretty much talking about. Yo bro, check internet money, looks pretty dope, pays interest to all users. That is the wallet from KG, right? It's a new wallet, right? What I would do is I won't import my, if I ever were to use it, I won't import my seed phrases into it. I'll make a new wallet and new, because it's like Richard Hart says, you don't want to be testing out someone else's beta. You don't want to be someone else's beta tester, right? You got to check it. Something like MetaMask pays fee to holders. Yeah, I know about it. I haven't dug deep into it, but I'm not sacrificing for anything. What I'll just do is I'll just look at the chart literally, and if it interests me, if I've done my fundamental analysis and it really interests me, maybe I'll throw like 5% at it. Maybe 5% is a lot. Like investors don't really ever, so maybe a few percentages here and there. Okay, to see Hans when Paul chain launch guesstimate. If I just guess, I would say after the Fed pivot, so June next year, but hopefully sooner. 100% correct, but you get the fees without even using the wallet. Pretty fine, so pretty fine. You get the fees without even using the wallet. So you probably have to hold some of the coins or a staking mechanism, otherwise it won't be fundamentally sound or good tokenomics. I haven't done any research about it. I will eventually look into it just because I'm interested to know as much as possible, right? At the end of the day, I am a technical analyst, but I know more about fundamentals than the average market participant. No staking, okay, so probably just holding the coin. With that being said, this has been 48 minutes. I don't want to keep it any longer. Thank you for the likes and the subscriptions. I really appreciate all of you coming and chilling out with me. I'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow and tonight. Come check out Matty's stream. Cheers for now and bye bye.